everybody, and welcome to Moms on a Mission. Today's show is going to be both alarming and inspiring as Stevie and Gloria Giorno talk about the vicious and life-threatening verbal attacks made to Stevie at a conservative Christian, I'm going to air quote that, Belmont University, after Stevie simply made an Instagram post of a picture of himself in front of the White House on July 4th, 2020, with the caption that he was proud to be an American. All of this has been captured in Gloria's new book, Outcast, How the Radical Left Tried to Destroy a Young Conservative. You will not want to miss this conversation. But first, it is important to know that the US dollar has lost 85% of its value since the 70s, when the dollar was no longer backed by gold. With the government printing as much money as they want, inflation went up 9%. Gold and silver are the only assets that will withstand inflation. Invest in Beverly Hills Precious Metals today to protect your wealth. Go to bh-pm.com and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. That's bh-pm.com. Also, email us at moms@momsonamission.net and check out our website at momsonamission.net. And please follow us on your favorite platform. Well, Gloria and Stevie, welcome to Moms on a Mission. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So I want to ask real quick first, tell me why you chose Belmont University.
Well, at the time, we live in Williamson County, Tennessee, which is about 15 minutes south of Nashville. I went to a very nice school, Battleground Academy in Franklin. It's been around since 1889. It was always a small private school. And when I was looking at colleges, I wanted to stay with a small private school. And it was really in between Belmont and Lipscomb, which is another school nearby. And after touring Belmont and hearing what all the teachers were saying and the faculty and the administration and seeing what students were saying, it was a bill of goods that were sold to our family, that it was a small private Christian school that had Christian values and reinforced that with their what they did every day, their daily values, their beliefs, everything they did day to day. And unfortunately, that was not what I experienced when I was at Belmont.
So did either of you, prior to 2020 happening, did you see any of this left ideology kind of infiltrating into the school?
No, I have an older son who has a grad school degree from Belmont, and he got it in 2018. But he was in a sports program for his master's. So no, he never experienced any of it. But he was not student body president, and he's also not as vocal as Stevie is. I mean, if you look at Stevie's LinkedIn account or his Instagram, it's all public. And you can see that he's worked for Republican candidates since he was 17 years old. So they're very different. Their personalities are very different, and they belong to different clubs when they were at school.
So how about once you got there, Stevie, before 2020? Was it 2018 that you went to Belmont? Okay. So you had a few years prior to 2020. Did you personally see any issues before 2020?
There were some minor ones. Of course, you're always going to have a lot of liberals at a college. However, there was always a lot of dialogue and discourse, and teachers encouraged debate. And I was in a fraternity that had both liberals and conservatives in it. But also, I was endorsed when I ran for student body president. I was actually endorsed by the college Democrats and, of course, the college Republicans, because it's not and should never be a political job. And unfortunately, 2020 and post-2020, it seems that everything is seen through the lens of politics rather than us all being Americans and needing to be united and one people. We're being divided every single day based on skin color, religion, economic status, and it's really not healthy for the country. And I think that's why we're seeing what we're seeing throughout the United States since 2020.
Well, I also want to point out in the book, I believe your mom said that you had 97% support or something like that. It was a high number.
I did, yes. I had 97% of the vote. So a lot of liberals voted for me.
Which is astounding to me as we go on and you share more of the story. The whole reason our country has been such a great experiment, this constitutional republic, the reason why it's gone so well is because of the discourse. It's because of the debate. This is what our founding fathers talked about, that they deliberated and debated the Constitution. This is what makes us great, is that our First Amendment, the freedom of speech. And that's why you see people flooding to our country. They're not flooding into China and these North Korea and places that push the same socialist agenda. So I just find it so astounding that this has been shut down for you and the university.
It's really unfortunate. And I love what you just said. I say it all the time. There are millions of people that come here illegally and die or almost die on the way here. Yet there are some people who are born in this country who have never experienced true hardship, that take advantage of it and take it for granted. And that's something that's really unfortunate. My grandparents escaped communism in Yugoslavia in the 1950s. My mom lived there for a year and got to see it firsthand. And it's just a shame when you see people, particularly my age, say that this is the worst country ever, as they're carrying around their Starbucks, carrying around their iPhones, and they're in their private universities or public universities that they're trying to have taxpayers pay their student loans for. So I think a lot of it is that people don't know how great they really have it in this country.
Well, I'd love to send them to North Korea and China, and so that they could live the principles that they're advocating. They wouldn't have their Lululemon leggings and shorts and their Starbucks coffee as they're talking about how great socialism and communism is. Gloria, could you speak to that? I mean, you lived in Yugoslavia for a while. Did you leave when you were in your elementary years?
I actually was born in this great country, and I went back and forth up until second grade. So first grade, I actually went to a U.S. Embassy school in the former communist Yugoslavia in Zagreb. And as a 6-year-old in first grade, I had 1,000 U.S. American dollars in my backpack every single day on my way to school. And I kept it with me. And I knew if there was civil unrest, I would have to flee the country at the age of 6. And I knew which cab to get into, and I knew where to go. I would go to the border of Yugoslavia and Italy, and my aunt would pick me up there, and my parents would come when they were able. I also saw a police officer every single day on that corner where I had to make the turn to go up the hill to my school. And I also was trained to know that that police officer was not there for my safety. He was there to make sure that no one would speak out against communism. And he was there to make sure that no one would talk about Josip Broz Tito, who was the dictator at the time. I have an uncle who in the 1950s actually did speak out against communism, and he was jailed, and he was supposed to be hanged the next day. And fortunately, my uncle was able to get out of it jail. He escaped, and he never was able to go back to Yugoslavia ever. He went to Lyon, France, so he never went back. So I was trained. I grew up with that, and I believe that I taught that to my children, because communism, when I speak, I've been speaking to a lot of people, especially young Republicans. I think it's important to reach young people. And so one young woman said to me recently that she doesn't know if she would like communism because she's never tried it. And that's when I think to myself, my God, we've lost them. And so then I bring up an analogy, and I actually posted it. We have a lion on this side who lives at the zoo, and he's caged, and his medical needs are met, his food, his shelter, his water, all his needs are met. He's in a cage. It's a beautiful cage. They make it look like a really nice place to be, and everything is free. He's taken care of, right? And then we have a picture of a lion who's roaming, the mountains of Montana or anywhere in this great country. And he has to fend for himself if he's ill. He has to find his own water. He has to find his own food. He is totally free. So which one is American? Is the American the one at the zoo, or is an American lion the one that's roaming free? And I think that kind of brings it home for young people. But we need to keep explaining it like that, because when I tell my story about living there, they're like, that was a long time ago. She's an old woman. That's true. But it still pertains to communism today. I mean, no one's going out to communist countries. They're all coming here. But I do believe that lion is a great way. You had mentioned you had a son. That lion is a great way to explain it to young people.
I love that. That is such a great analogy, and really a true one. And I think that is part of the problem, is that because this indoctrination has been going on for so long, this whole process of indoctrinating our country started over 100 years ago. And so I think that's the problem, is these kids do not know that what they don't know. And so they've just been told a lie and they believed it, and they have no idea the ramifications of this lie, what it's like to live in these communist countries. I mean, how sad that she responded in that way. Stevie, I wanted to see if you could just share with us, let's talk about this Instagram post. So what exactly did you say in your post while you were standing in the picture that you were standing in front of the White House?
What I said was that I was proud to be an American, and I thank those who had served and died and sacrificed for us so that we could have freedoms and liberties that our forefathers intended for us on this day in 1776. You know, of all the pictures I put up, it's one of the least political posts ever that I've posted. And really, it was just a thank you to those who had made our country so great. You know, 2020 people, a lot of people were saying that our country was evil, that it was racist, that it was terrible. Yet our country has done more to advance the human civilization around the world than any other country. We've defended freedom at home and abroad. Americans have gone to other countries to die for people that we don't know, to preserve democracy and freedom. And so it was really just a thank you. And the 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays. I love, you know, watching Joey Chestnut win the hot dog eating competition, then going and having a day at the pool. But I think it's important that we thank those people that made our country the place where we can do that. You know, you can't go to the pool on any day in North Korea. You can't, you know, go to work, drive on a road, go play basketball, or do whatever you want to do, work the job you want to work in some of these other countries. And so I've always been very grateful and fortunate to be from this country, and wanted to remind people of that.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty harmless post. I mean, I know I posted for the 4th of July, and I have a picture of me standing in front of the White House. I mean, I think that would be absolutely normal and fine. I'm sure everybody posted things like that on that day.
No, they actually didn't. Actually, we had 300 comments from "you're a terrible person" to "you're a racist" to "go kill yourself." So somehow in 2020, the 4th of July became a racist holiday. It was not a day for us to thank our forefathers. It was a racist holiday. And the next day there was a change.org petition, and Stevie was labeled as celebrating a covertly racist holiday.
A covertly racist holiday. I guess I didn't get the memo.
Neither did we. We had no idea what was going on. Actually, no idea. I mean, you know, when you see, as a parent, when you see somebody put on your son's post, "go kill yourself," that's a little frightening, don't you think? I mean, as a parent, that's frightening. And we don't know what people are capable of. I mean, you have to remember, at this time, Antifa was burning and looting cities everywhere. I mean, Nashville was a part of it. I mean, it was horrible. So it was very frightening as a parent to see kids threatening our son. And one young woman said it was on site, which I've now learned to mean that, you know, if you see someone and you say it's on site, you're going to beat them up, which I never knew. I guess it's a new English. But I mean,
the words that when they say on site, that's code for "I'm going to kill you."
I'm going to beat you up, or I don't know if it's kill. I know, but it's I'm going to attack. Yes. I did not know this. This is all new to me. I mean, being 57, I did not know this new English. It wasn't taught to me at university. But as a parent, when you see that, the first thing I did is I called the then president of the university. And his assistant told me that they were aware of some drama going on around Stevie's post, and that the president would be calling me. So I waited, and I waited and waited. Got a phone call many days later, and it was from an attorney at Belmont University. His first words: "Are you going to be suing Belmont University?" First words. Not, "I'm sorry for everything you're going through, your son, this shouldn't be happening. Will you be suing Belmont University?" So I sat back and I said, "No." I said, "I want to know what you're going to do to keep my son safe when school opens up." COVID was going to be 2 weeks. "I want to know what you're going to do when we go back to in person." This is still July, mind you. I said, "I want to know what the plan is to keep my son safe." I mean, we have 300 kids, I'm assuming kids, who have written horrible things about my son. There's a change.org petition. What are you doing? I mean, some of them use their real names. So we provide everything to the school. We provide everything to them. They do nothing. You got their real names. In the handbook, it's very clear. There is no bullying. There is no attacking. Everyone will be reprimanded. And if you're bullying someone, you're going to get expelled. No one got expelled. So the left was able to say whatever they wanted to. They were able to run free. My son, after we had, I insisted that he have security because we were not assured of any kind of safety. So we did meet on August 6th. We did meet on Zoom with campus security, and no one had any answers. I mean, they had everything provided to them, but no one had any answers. So I asked if I could hire a private, security firm to escort our son to school. He was not going to miss school just because, this was happening. We are not quitters. And he was student body president. So I was told that was unacceptable, which I respect that. They don't want somebody armed on campus. I understand that. So one police officer with Belmont stepped up and said that if we found a way to deliver Stevie to the campus security office when he had class, he would escort him. And there's a picture in the book, and they would escort him from class. He would escort him from class to class. However, my son's car was not allowed to be on campus. They would not do anything to make sure that he could get there. So they made it very difficult, but we found a way of getting him there anyway. And he did go to school in person. And I believe that started like September 26th, I want to say. And he was the first one there. And I mean, he did meet with the police officer. He was escorted. And, I hate when they said nobody will recognize him. He'll be masked. Really? Are you kidding me? So, yeah, I mean, as a parent, it's very frightening. And I do feel that Stevie's not alone in this, but I do feel that a lot of children are afraid to speak out. And at the end of the day, they're still our children. Sure, they're in college, but they're still our children.
That's right. And I cannot even imagine as a mom, as I was reading your book, Outcast, I kept putting myself in your position because I have a son who's getting ready to go to college. And I thought, how would I feel? This would terrify me initially. I would really be concerned about this. And then I would just be concerned about how this would affect my son psychologically, spiritually, let alone just physically being unsafe. That would concern me, obviously, but just all the realms of this abuse, really, and how this would affect him. So, Stevie, I'd like to ask you, clearly, you were very surprised by this response with your post. And how did this make you feel? I mean, what was your initial reaction when you saw these 300 posts?
Well, I remember where I was. I posted it around dinner time on the 4th of July. And a few hours later, I was at a friend's house shooting off fireworks and enjoying the evening. And I remember getting texts and calls from friends and family saying, you have hundreds of comments on your Instagram. Go look at them. Go look at them. And I'm scrolling through them, reading them. And it really was a state of shock. I was in disbelief that people were so upset about me posting this, especially people who had been fraternity brothers of mine, had been friends of mine, people who had supported me in my race. And so it was really, really disappointing. I think I lost a lot of people that I thought were friends, and it was very difficult the first couple of weeks, not knowing what's going to happen. And you see everything happening on the news of people getting attacked and all the rioting and all that. And I just had to wonder, is that going to happen to me? And, when we ended up going back to school in October, I would go and get sweet tea every morning from a fast food restaurant. And there was a female student who went to Belmont who knew me. So I guess the mask didn't really do much, unlike what campus police said. And she admitted in the college Democrat group text at Belmont to putting gross stuff in my sweet teas every morning. And guess what happened when we turned her into the school?
What happened?
They accepted her into law school a few weeks later. She wanted to be an attorney, and they were okay with her despite having the screenshot evidence with her picture on it and her name saying, I've been putting stuff in his drinks because I was a Republican, because I support Donald Trump. And really, it was that was the worst moment of it all, was someone attacking me because of my political beliefs physically, regardless of the school saying, oh, it'll blow over. People won't recognize you. Just ignore it. People were not ignoring it. People were going to come after me regardless of the school trying to sweep it under the rug.
Well, the school was really the one ignoring it. They were ignoring the truth, which was you were not safe. And then to promote this girl into this program, so she didn't probably receive any consequences, right?
No, she was rewarded with getting into law school. And, when we look at the fraternity as well, my fraternity brothers who said if I did not apologize for my post and endorse the Black Lives Matter organization, there was one student who said, and, it's in the book, the transcript of that Zoom call's in the book. And, he says, if I don't do what he's telling me to do, he's going to do whatever it takes to destroy me. The school ended up hiring him too after graduation to be an event coordinator. So really it seemed that whoever could be the most woke and the most liberal seemed to have gotten rewarded with jobs after graduation or accepted into law school. And it was just ridiculous that despite turning everything in and following the rules, my rights were taken away because I wouldn't apologize for being a conservative in 2020.
My son was silenced at Belmont, just like I was silenced living in a communist country and everyone else who lived there. So the parallels that I see, that's why it was so mind-blowing to me, because the parallels that I saw between what I lived through and what my parents had talked about, what they lived through before me. It was just so interesting that Belmont was on the same train track. Exactly. Nothing was different. And I fear that most universities, 99.9%, probably all universities have they're on the same track.
I think what's so disturbing is that you might expect this, sadly, you might expect this from certain schools, maybe Harvard, Yale, or some other very publicly woke universities. But man, to go to this university under the guise of a quote unquote conservative Christian university, it must have somewhat come out of left field and you're blindsided by all this.
Well, we didn't understand it, but that's okay. There was a dean who called me, who explained it to me. Evidently, my schooling was not good enough for her. And she felt that Stevie and I needed to be taught about who was actually freed on the 4th of July. And I did not take that too well because I'm not a stupid woman, but I know the difference between the 4th of July and the Emancipation Proclamation. So, America was freed as a whole, but history is being rewritten right now. And I don't know what our students are learning at this point. The 4th of July celebrates exactly what Stevie said. It does not celebrate the Emancipation Proclamation. That was Republican, President Abraham Lincoln. Totally different things. So, I guess I was highly insulted. But yes, as a parent, I was scared. Stevie was, I don't believe my son was ever scared. But
were you, Stevie? Were you scared?
More so annoyed that I couldn't be on campus. And, they didn't let me hold meetings as student body president. They really limited our ability to be effective. So that really, I did not take that very well. I was never scared, just nervous on what was going to happen. I think a lot of people were just, how is this going to play out? Fortunately, Tennessee, we live in a state that respects the ability to carry firearms and buy firearms, unlike those Democrat-ran states. And so I was always protected one way or another. I was always going to defend myself and do whatever it took to keep myself safe. So
what makes you not scared in moments like this? This is pretty incredible. I don't think a lot of folks would respond the way you did. How were you not scared through all this?
Well, I remember my grandpa telling me stories of how he escaped communism in Yugoslavia. He was born in the 1920s and he hid from Hitler in the 40s, and then communism in the 50s. He came to America. And I thought of my parents always being supportive of whatever decision I made. I had a really great group of friends, both from the school who were conservatives that had my back. and from people in Young Republicans and Turning Point USA who were always going to have my back. And I just felt, well, this is going to blow over one way or another. And I just want to make sure, years down the line, I can look back in a mirror and say that I did everything right and I won't change anything. And fortunately, there's only one thing I would change with this whole experience. And that's I posted that picture at dinner time on the 4th of July, 5, 6 p.m. I would have posted it at 8 a.m. if I had known it was going to bother so many people so much, just so I could have ruined their entire day and made them so upset the entire day that I was having a great time on the 4th of July. And clearly they were not.
I love that answer. And that must make your mama's heart very proud of you. That's pretty cool. That's very cool. Well, I wanted to just transition. I know we're almost out of time, but I didn't want to end this without you both touching on that meeting that you had with the standards board in your fraternity. I thought that was so powerful when you talk about Nathan, who was your big in this fraternity, and he was kind of heading up this conversation and how they presented it as being some type of little gesture of like just getting on the same page or whatever. And then it blew up. If we could just briefly talk about that, I just think it's very important because you and your mom handled this so beautifully. And if someone finds themselves in a similar situation, I just think that you could really help them navigate that by telling this just real briefly, just kind of tell them what happened.
Yeah. So I was referred to standards, which pretty much means, someone commits a crime or breaks a rule of the fraternity, fraternity brother can refer them, and it's kind of like a disciplinary board. And of course, when I refused to take down my post and apologize, I was referred to by a fellow brother, Kevin, and he said I was being racist because I wouldn't endorse the BLM organization. And so we sat down, and fortunately in Tennessee, it is a single party consent state, which means you're allowed to record with only one person knowing. And I set up my phone right next to my computer because I had a bad feeling going in with everything going on. I just didn't want to take any chances. And I'm very grateful that I did record it because you could not come up with this. In the conversation, they're saying, if you don't come out with a statement and endorse this organization, which according to their own website is anti-Christian, it's Marxist, it's seeking to destroy the nuclear family. They said that if I didn't support that group, they were going to remove me from the fraternity. And the fraternity ended up supporting that group and posting about it. And I ended up leaving as a result because my cousin was a police officer in Chicago who was shot and killed serving. And so obviously I'm never going to support a group or be friends with people that support a group that's saying what it says about the police, because the police in our country keep us safe, where in communist countries, they're there to protect the state, where for us, they're here to protect our rights. And so it got really unfortunate when my big, who was running the meeting, said, if you don't do this, we're going to have to, vote on your character, and it's not going to be a good vote for you. And it's interesting that a few days later, he ended up calling, and thankfully I didn't answer. I let it go to voicemail because I couldn't set up the recording thing in time. And he ended up apologizing, saying that he felt that they were blackmailing me. And that's what they were absolutely doing. And so he apologized, and he even said that he didn't support the group, and he was just going along with it just because he didn't want to be attacked. And so I'm very, very thankful that we recorded it, because no one would have ever believed it if we had just said it without it. And this is firsthand proof of what we all know is going on on college campuses throughout this country. And it's only gotten worse and worse as the Biden administration has made it impossible to be a conservative on campus nowadays. It makes it so hostile.
Well, I wanted to highlight the fact that you, prior to this, talked about that you were not racist, that you were pro everybody being involved, supporting everyone welcome. You went out of your way to do that prior to 2020. And you kept saying, hey, I'm not racist. This is why. And you factually proved why you were not racist, to which they could not argue your point. But man, they wanted you to say Black Lives Matter when all lives matter. But man, they would not just allow you to say all lives matter. They wanted you to say those 3 words over and over. Even your big said, just say it. They just wanted the 3 words. They didn't even want to know your character and your heart, that you were not promoting racism. They wanted you to bow your knee and say those 3 words so badly.
Yeah, they just wanted me to say it so they could move on and move on to other things, but they did not anticipate me saying and doing what I felt was the right thing, because at that time so many people were scared and did whatever just to avoid getting in trouble or being yelled at or losing friends, to where I looked at that and said, I don't really care what's going to happen. I'm going to say what I feel. And if you don't like it, you can unfollow me. You don't have to be my friend. But I'm not going to give in just because the crowd is telling me to, and the forces, the wind in the air is blowing a certain direction. I'm not going to give in.
Well, I thought it was interesting. One of the quotes from the book that they said was, BLM is not a political organization. White silence is violence. And I thought, wow, they so desperately want to advance their agenda, and you just would not bow. And I think of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I just can't help but think of them, that they would not bow, and how God protected them. And clearly he has protected you, your mom, and your family, which I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful that you recorded everything. And I think that is one message that we could share with others, is when you get involved in situations like this, if you were to, that you would record everything and document it, because like you said, you just don't see that.
That's exactly right. And that's why I think so many things get ignored, is that we don't have concrete proof. And for the, having the transcripts in the book, it cannot be ignored of what happened, because the proof is there. We have the audio, we have the screenshots, and I would really encourage people to do that. Hopefully, I don't know about other states, but in Tennessee, I know you're allowed to do it. So I'm not sure about in other states, but I would highly encourage people to do whatever it takes to get proof of what we all know is going on in this country.
Well, I'd like to leave with this. So you share in your book, Gloria, that Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. What message would you both like to share with other parents and students to encourage them as they go to college or selecting colleges? What advice would you both give to them?
Well, my advice is, I think every parent should read Outcast, because I wrote that as an educational tool for parents. I think it's important to read Stevie's story. And if you think it can't happen to your child, you're wrong. It can, and it will. It won't happen to the same degree as it happened to Stevie, but it will happen to some degree. Every conservative at every college campus is being threatened right now. We are not safe anywhere. So we need to fight back. And as parents, just because we go away to school does not mean that we are still not their parents and they are still not our children. And I think a lot of people confuse that. They feel they're 18, 19, 20, they're on their own, they're meeting great people and we're doing their own thing. If you let that happen, and you've lost them. What you need to do is carry on the same traditions that you had at home. Make sure you celebrate the same holidays. Make sure you still have your kids with you for Christmas. Make sure you call them, check in with them. There's nothing wrong with just, talking to your child, having a conversation, have dinner with them, go visit them at school, know who their friends are. I think that's very important. I sat across from Stevie during that fraternity Zoom meeting. I was helpless. I couldn't say a thing. I couldn't do a thing. But I sat there and I had to listen to what they were saying to my son. And to tell you it was despicable is an understatement. And my son's not the only one. It will happen to other children, especially young women. Young women are being targeted at a record number. And I do run an organization, a 501c3 I founded, United Women Foundation. And the website is unitedwomenfoundation.com. And what we do is we're there for conservative young women who are, thank you, we are there for conservative young women who are in need of assistance. We also give out college scholarships. We also mentor them. We provide internships for them with conservatives. We also employ them with conservatives. So it's very important that we work together. We need to come together as conservatives if we want to make a change. And we need to teach our children to not be afraid. They need to trust in God. They need to trust in the Lord. He has a plan for everyone. My husband and I, we did give Stevie the option of leaving Belmont University. He chose to stay. And we're proud of him. We're very, very proud of him. But I understand the Christian conservative logo that these schools have. Just know It's not what you're going to get. You are sold a bill of goods, their website, their pretty, pictures and whatnot. There is no such thing as a Christian conservative university in this country anymore.
Wow, that's so true. And thank you for starting that organization. And I will put that link in our show notes so folks can find that and sign up and support you in that venue. Stevie, I want to give you the last word. What would you give for a piece of advice for kids going off to college right now?
Well, I would say the biggest thing that I think is that things are only going to get worse and worse because particularly young people don't want to be involved. They don't care for whatever reason. They think someone else is going to do it. In the past 3 years, it's only gotten worse and worse and worse. And the other side is doing a very good job of recruiting all these young people. And if the last 3 years are an indication of what is to come, I don't want to live in a country like that. I don't want to live in the communist country I've heard about from my grandparents and my mom. If we don't get involved now, it will be too late. And I don't think young people want to live in a world like that. They may not know how bad it will be, but we've got to really educate them of why it's going to get worse unless we all get active and start going to the polls and getting our friends involved and standing up for what we all know to be the truth and facts and, not opinions like the other side always says. They say whatever they want and they say, oh, well, that's my truth. Well, there is no your truth. There is the truth. And the truth is we're going to lose our country if we don't pay attention to what's going on right now.
That's so well said. So Outcast, this is the book that we want to get, How the Radical Left Tried to Destroy a Young Conservative by Gloria Giorno. And so this is Gloria and Steve Giorno's story. Where can they get this book? Where's the best place for them to find it?
It's at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you can walk into, but I'm actually labeled a radical book, which means it was new to me as well. A gentleman in Utah reached out to me and told me I went into a Barnes & Noble to purchase your book, but they didn't have it on a shelf. So the young lady looked it up and said it was a radical book. So I would have to pay for it and it would be shipped to me. They refused to carry it in their store, which is fine. But Amazon, go to Amazon.com. They have it. And it should be everywhere books are sold, but obviously it's not.
Yeah. Well, we all have an Amazon link in our phone. So I think that would be very easy. So, I did talk to Gloria about this, that I like the font is a little bit larger so you can read it really quickly. I read it in one day, but listen, there's no reason to not do this. I think certainly for people who have kids who are getting ready to look at college or go off to college, you just want this story in the back of your mind so that it's very fresh and to stay engaged and stay involved with your kids and ask a lot of questions. So Stevie, I just want to say when you run for national office, I will be voting for you. I appreciate your love for our country and your willingness to not bow your knee and to stand for truth. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you both for joining Moms on a Mission today. And thank you all so much for listening. We would love to have you email us with any questions or comments at moms@momsonamission.net. That's moms@momsonamission.net. And you can check us out on our website at momsonamission.net and fill out your email information so we can connect with you that way. And then please follow us on your favorite platform. We prefer Rumble just because it's uncensored, but we'd love for you to follow us on your favorite platform and like and share these episodes. And thank you so much for listening, and God bless. In light of recent bank volatility and skyrocketing inflation, diversification is a must. That's why I use my good friend Andrew Sorcini at Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Beverly Hills Precious Metals makes it so easy to diversify. I personally ordered some silver and it arrived on my doorstep just a few days later. They make it so easy. And if you're not ready to do that and you just want to ask a few questions, they're there for you too. I personally got some silver and also am rolling over some of my IRA. You can actually roll over your IRA and have it be backed by silver and gold. So if you don't have any extra money to invest in silver and gold, rolling over a 401k or an IRA, or even part of it, if you just want to try it at first, just for a little bit, you can do that as well. So go to bh-pm.com today and ask all your questions. You can connect with somebody. And like I said, you can just get some information at first if you want and pray about it, and then get back with them to roll over part of your IRA or all of it, or order some gold and silver. That's bh-pm.com. and tell them that Moms on a Mission sent you. Hey, everybody. Did you know that recent research from the CDC says that millions of Americans develop parasitic infections and symptoms often go unnoticed or are misdiagnosed? Parasites are actually the cause of many health problems such as anxiety, depression, chronic pain, fatigue, and unexplained digestive issues. We all need a common sense strategy to improve our health. Moms on a Mission encourages you to reach out to our good friend, Dr. Jason Dean. Dr. Dean's Full Moon Protocol provides all natural detoxification and fights inflammation. And the supplements are made with 100% organic ingredients and are proven to kill parasites safely and effectively. I know after I took Full Moon Protocol, I had more energy. To order your Full Moon Protocol today, go to bravetv.store/mission to save $20 off your first order. That's bravetv.store/mission. According to leading sleep experts and sleephealth.org, over 50 million Americans struggle getting a good night's rest. That's why Moms on a Mission loves MyPillow. MyPillow makes amazing pillows, sheets, mattress toppers, robes, towels, literally almost everything you need for a good night's sleep. They also make dog beds for your dogs. So by going to mypillow.com, typing in the code MISSION, you not only receive a high quality product, but you're supporting Moms on a Mission and this podcast. If you like what you're hearing and you agree with it, you believe in it, and you want to support Moms on a Mission, then go to mypillow.com today and order some high quality products and just type in the code MISSION at checkout and you can save up to 66% off. That's mypillow.com, code MISSION.
Since 2014, Organic Body Essentials has offered clean, simple, certified organic skincare. Our organic face-to-feet and federally compliant hemp and pet products are manufactured under USDA and FDA guidelines. Our products are inspired by God using plants He created. In Ezekiel 47:12, it says, "The fruit is for food and the leaves for healing." We believe in the power of God to heal, so we pray over our products and for our customers. Our therapy in a bottle approach has been widely received, and our customers' testimonials continue to inspire us. You can find us at organicbodyessentials.com and obe.organicbodyessentials.com. Please feel welcome to reach out with questions. Use coupon code MISSION at checkout for a discount. Thank you for your support by using MISSION at checkout to benefit Moms on a Mission and their quest to reestablish traditional values in our education system and empowerment for a healthy lifestyle.